3, 2, 1. Good day, everyone. My name is Carlos. Welcome to My Life Without Limits podcast. As you guys all know, we always have our wonderful, my wonderful, and our wonderful co-host, Leah Eisen.
Yes.
She's here with us
Still kicking around.
for another episode in this wonderful season 2. And
Yep.
still here with us. Before she goes on holidays, she'll be going
Yes.
on holidays soon. So if
Yes.
you don't hear from her or me, it's because Leah decided to go into a trip and she did not invite me. But that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going on your own trip in September, and I was not invited. So
I am.
we're even.
I am going, and we're definitely even. So I really hope you have so much fun in your trip, Leah.
Thank you.
And that you come back soon. This will not be the last episode that we record. We will record one after she's back, and then we might be taking some time off. We'll see what happens. There's a couple of surprises that we have under our sleeves. There's one video that already showed up on our YouTube channel, on one of our podcasts.
We're on YouTube now.
Yeah, we're on YouTube now. Thanks to Leah, which is right in front of me. So, yes, she's the master of the YouTube channel. Anyways, we have a wonderful guest today that I want Leah to introduce. I believe Leah once again stalked on people and found her on the internet.
I did.
And so, yeah, so she has we have a wonderful guest that she will be introducing. So, Leah, first of all, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm all good. It's hot outside, but it's nice in the office here, so I'm happy.
Yeah, it's going to be very hot today. So very exciting. So yeah, Leah, if you can introduce our wonderful guest to our audience. So happy we're on air conditioning here. But yeah,
Yes.
if you can introduce our guest, that'll be awesome. So.
Yeah, very happy to have Alisha Dicks here from out east, all the way in PEI, is it?
No, Newfoundland, Canada.
Oh, Newfoundland. That's what it is. Newfoundland. Yes. So she's a bit away from us, bit of a time change and everything. But yeah, I just came across, she's written some articles and I found some and was reading them and thought, yep, here we go. Another one that needs to be on and tell her story. So we're very happy to have you here. So why don't you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Alisha Dicks. I'm 27 years old. I have spastic cerebral palsy. My primary training was actually education. So I have a Bachelor of Intermediate Education, which allows me to teach 7 to 12 high school students. And I also have a Bachelor of Arts in English and History. But earlier this year, in September, I came across this work program for people with disabilities from CBC St. John's called the CAPE program, and I applied for it, not thinking anything of it. And my 27th birthday, I got a phone call and said, would you like to do an interview? And I said, sure, why not? And it was only supposed to be for 3 months, but here we are 2 months later.
Wow, look at you. That's awesome. What a nice birthday present.
Yeah.
It was a really great birthday present, and I just found out actually that I've been accepted to the University of Yorkville in New Brunswick to do my master's in counseling psychology.
Nice.
Congratulations.
So we're having a very smart person on our show today.
Very.
With all this yeah, oh wow, that's awesome.
So that's me in a nutshell. I don't know if you want to know some more things.
Oh, that's awesome. Will you be moving then, or is it online?
It's online. It's a 2.5-year program that I'll be able to do at my own pace online, which is lovely.
Wonderful. That's so nice that you can achieve a master's in something, like accessibly like that. Like, that's awesome.
That is very awesome.
it's incredible actually, because with my mobility issues, having something that I can do online allows me to be more independent and more successful in my program.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that is
So,
really cool.
well, before I wanted to ask you a question, whether how good are you in computers? But before you answer that question, which I imagine you're very good at, because you were able to, first of all, you're able to be here, and thank you so much for that. But I just wanted to know, or ask you first of all, for all of our audience who haven't been able to read your articles, which they should, by the way, because they're very amazing. If you can just tell us a little bit about, like, we know who Alisha is in a nutshell, but what about how do you feel about living with cerebral palsy? If that you're living with, were you born with it? Generally, as we know, we're born with it. But how how is it your life? How did your life go with cerebral palsy as well? That you can maybe touch on that to our audience, if that's okay.
Sure. So I've had cerebral palsy all my life. So growing up, my parents have always treated me like my younger brother and older brother who are able-bodied. I never really knew any different. I was on the sea-doo, I was riding bikes, I was doing it all. But when I got into school age, that's when things started to change, and the attitudinal barriers really impacted me as a person and impacted where I was going in life. So that's kind of where it stemmed. So I'll just bring you back a little bit. When I was applying to university here in Newfoundland, I had a guidance counselor tell me that people like me don't belong in university. And so from that point on, I was like, something has to change. And I wanted to make a change in the school system. As you can see, I've kind of geared away from that, but I feel like I have a bigger platform now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's very, very, very awesome what you did. And I think what your teacher said, or that particular teacher, is completely wrong. I mean, I completely understand, because there was a case in my university one time where the director of my career, or my degree, he said to me, "I don't think university is for you." What happens when people do that to persons with Alicia and myself is that they poked in our little ego. Well, at least speaking to myself, they poked in my ego by saying, "Oh, really? You don't think university is for me? Well, I'm gonna prove you wrong." Right?
Yeah.
And which is what I did.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Carlos. Because when people tell me I can't do something, I might grumble and moan about it, but I'm gonna do it until the bitter end and prove them wrong.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So, Leah, you have any questions you wanna?
So you got treated like your parents just treated you like your siblings. Did your siblings also treat you like a regular sibling?
Oh yes, I remember when I was 4 years old, we were playing around on the patio, and at the time I was in a manual wheelchair, which is a push wheelchair for anybody that's not familiar. Now I'm in a power wheelchair, but at that point I was in the manual wheelchair, and he was running around the patio with me, and he was going around this pole that we had in the center of the patio, and I tipped over.
Oh no!
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and my parents had to pick me back up off the patio, but they treated me just like anybody else. I even went snow clearing with my older brother when I was younger. He used to put a snow shovel on the front of my chair, and we'd make it sort of like a snow plow.
That is
go snow clearing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like very, very
and
fun.
The kids at school, did you just get to go to school with your siblings too, the same school?
I did get to go to school with my siblings. So I'm part of a triplet. One passed away. One passed away 72 hours after birth, and my other brother, Brandon, is 3 years older than me. So we did get to go to school for a brief period of time in the same school. They never treated me any different at school, but I found myself being very isolated from my peers because they didn't know how to interact with me. They didn't really know what to think of the cheer, and they were vibing off the teachers treating me differently, thinking that I
Mhm.
couldn't do anything because of my physical abilities and my physical appearance. So school was very, very hard for me.
Yeah.
And when did you have the hardest part of the school? Because you already graduated from school and you're like you said you're working already. When was the hardest part? Was it the high school, like elementary, junior high, high
It
school,
was junior high and high
junior high?
school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So much so that I was really contemplating dropping out in grade 10. And if I had done that, I wouldn't be here in my position at CBC. I wouldn't have the 2 degrees that I have, and I wouldn't be going for my master's. So I'm really glad that I was able to do that. But I just empathize with the people that are going up in the school system and wonder, what are they going to do? What are they going to miss out on if they don't have the strength that I had to get through it?
Mhm.
So that's always where my mind goes. I think it's the teacher in me
Yeah,
that
exactly.
misses out
Right?
younger
Yeah.
kids. Right?
Yeah.
And so when you're saying that you were contemplating on dropping out on grade 10, what was it the fire that, other than your conviction, but was it somebody around your family who said, "Hey, Alicia, I'm behind you 100%. Don't try not to drop out," or was it extended family? Was it yourself only? What was the fire that kind of kept you going and saying, let's continue with school"?
It was my family, but I was lucky I had one specific teacher that kept pushing me, kept saying that there was bigger pictures for me. And having his support really changed the way that I seen myself and what I was capable of doing. And I think that's what drove my work to begin with wanting to help children with disabilities in the school system better themselves.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Sometimes that's all it takes, right? Like I
Yeah.
think almost everybody has a story of that one teacher that they connected with and that really helped them. And that's so special. You don't want to think that there's teachers out there that would dismiss, but some people are just the way that they are. But one teacher can really make such a difference. Absolutely. Aw, that's really sweet.
That is very sweet, and I think teachers should realize, and even the school system should realize, that persons with disabilities like you and myself, or any other person who's listening out here, or who would be listening to this episode, who's living with a disability, they should realize that they can do anything they want to do. I always keep saying, even in my own presentations, that they can do anything they want to do. People can do everything and anything they want to do. It's just they want to continue with the fire, and if somebody, teachers can be, that's what I'm saying, words can be as demoralizing or as positive as people can see it. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, it's only words." If I told Alicia that she's a horrible person and she won't do anything in life, people might say, "Oh, it won't affect her," but it does. It affects people, right? So you got to be, if you're a teacher, an educator, you got to be careful what you said. Instead of saying Alicia won't do anything in life or Carlos won't do anything in life, you could say, "Hey, you know what, Carlos? You have the possibilities," or "You know what, Alicia? You have the possibilities to conquer the world." And it's right. We have the possibilities to conquer the world. It doesn't matter what disability you have or not, right? So
Yep.
I agree with you, Carlos. I'll be 28 next month. I've been out of school now at 12 years, and I still remember what the guidance counselor said in grade 12.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's true. They stick with you.
It sticks with you no matter. You're gonna move on regardless, because you move on, of course, for that. But you're still gonna remember that because it's an impact. It's something that impacted you for such a long time, right? So
Yeah.
sure.
I want to talk about that one article that you wrote about how you used to dislike like CP Awareness Day, and then how you kind of changed your mind frame around that. Because it's interesting, because I know, a lot of people can say, well, what's the big deal? Because we do World CP Day, we celebrate that as an organization, and, you know, have landmarks lit green, but then you do wonder half the time, like, what impact is it really making? You know, because it's hard to get feedback on that. So what was your, when you were writing that, what was going through your mind about awareness days and all that?
So when I approached my senior producer colleague and friend about writing this, I was really wanting to get this story out there that just because it's celebrated doesn't mean that the person has good feelings about it. And
Yeah.
you are a part of the way that they view themselves and the way that they feel about their condition because of the way you treat them. And I didn't realize how emotional it was for me going back to when I absolutely despised hearing the word cerebral palsy, admitting that I've had cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
So it was really emotional, and it was definitely a journey of self-awareness, realizing what I can do, and not taking people's words to heart. But to be honest with you, it wasn't until I became really close with one of my best friends, and they really helped me see how capable I was and how beautiful I was as a person on the inside, that made me realize that on the outside appearance doesn't matter. It's what's inside that counts.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. It's what
Yeah.
inside that counts, for sure.
Yeah, and it's true. And I know that there's always been a movement too from the disability community about, you know, inspiration porn and stuff, you know, as they call it. Like, just because a basketball team, you know, allows, you know, somebody with a disability to get a basket and everyone cheers and thinks it's great, it's like, okay, but what are you doing outside of that moment? And what are you, you know, like, you guys aren't there just to be given that opportunity. You're doing this yourselves, you know, like you're making those opportunities yourselves and achieving it yourselves. And
it's just that what Alicia said about her article is that, to me, the whole idea of World TP Day, of International Days for Persons with Disabilities, yes, it is great, but why do we need to be put on the spotlight that specific day when each person could be put on spotlight every day? You know what I mean? Like, we're just normal people, and as Alicia's best friend says, your inside, your inner self is what matters. What you have inside, what your heart has inside, is what's most valuable for, right? It doesn't matter. I always said to people, yes, I am broken in the outside, because we are broken in the outside, right? But the outside doesn't really shown what the inside really is, what the actual person really is. If you get to know Alicia, you will know how amazing she is. If you get to know Carlos, you will know how amazing he is.
Yeah.
You don't get to see, if you see the outside, then it's your loss. I always said it's your loss. It's completely your loss, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I always say to Carlos that I hope we get to a point where we don't need World Disability Day and Cerebral Palsy Awareness Day. But until we get people seeing past the disability and understanding and accepting, I'm more than willing to have those days to get it out there, to scream and make some noise, to make people understand.
And also, Leah always says, and I mean, she can repeat it again, but she said, we need people able-bodied to join these movements for now, so then this International Day for Persons with Disabilities, World Cerebral Palsy Day, would disappear sooner. And this is not to say to people, oh, does that mean that you won't recognize persons with CP anymore? Well, we don't want you to recognize them because we want them to be a part of society, so we don't need it anymore. As you just mentioned, Alicia, you hit it on the nail. You hit it absolutely on the nail. But we need people who are able-bodied to stand behind us and say, hey, these guys are the same or even better than us. You know what I mean? So
yes. So my best friend is able-bodied, and a lot of comments that I get is, well, what do you guys have in common? And I'm like, common interests,
Common
such
interest.
as
Like,
like intellectual conversations,
Exactly.
going to the beach, different things like that.
Yep.
But until people can see past my physical limitations or Carlos's physical limitations, the person that's behind, I always say the defective brain, because my brain is defective because it makes my body not be able to move properly, then you're gonna miss out on what a great person I am.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like your brain is defective that you cannot have conversations,
Yeah.
as we can see, and as we can
Yes.
hear. For those of you who won't be able to see this, she's able to have a conversation. She's able to communicate. So yes, her brain is defective, but only with the movement side of things. It's the
Yep.
same thing with mine. So if you get to know us, if you get to know our common interests, if you get to know what we have fun about, what we like about, then you can see that people can be able-bodied, can be friends with a person with CP or any other disability. You know what I mean? So I
And
don't
not be looked at as a caregiver or something, like your
exactly,
aid, right?
and,
Like not to be,
and
you
don't
know,
be looked
people,
at
it's like, no.
as a,
Just
Yeah.
or as a nurse. You know, like, oh, your friend is there, your best friend is there to be like a nurse to you, right? No,
Yeah.
it's not.
No,
She's gonna
no,
treat
yeah.
you. She's gonna treat you the same way. She's gonna laugh. You guys are gonna have girl night or pajama parties or whatever you guys do these days, right? So it's what happens, you know, like it's normal thing. That's what I'm not saying that's what you like to do, but some
He's
girls,
just hoping that's what he's imagining.
some girls, some girls like to do
Not
those things.
exactly what you pictured there, Carlos, but I'll let you go with it.
No, no, like
Pillow
some-
fights.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So, you guys get my point. So
I,
you get the point.
yes.
So
I don't know if I don't know if if I don't know when sleepovers end. I don't know. Do you guys have like she's not 12.
no,
No.
but
I know.
Unfortunately, no. I don't have sleepovers anymore.
I just
so,
bugging you,
but I'm
Carlos.
just saying she might have
Yes.
used to have, you know. Like, yeah. So
That's
anyway,
okay. I make fun of him all the time for
she does.
That's
That's-
awesome. Yeah.
oh, that's funny. No. So what do you like to go do, you and your bestie? What do you guys go do? Just go out for drinks and just
We enjoy going to the beach, going for coffee, and most times even just watching a movie and chatting.
yeah. Oh, the beach. Yeah, that's right. Because you're on the East Coast.
Oh, you get to go.
We're
Oh.
actually in Toronto. We don't have any beaches here in Newfoundland. They're all rocks. So the sandy beaches don't exist.
Right.
So you have to go to Toronto. Like when you go, you have to go to Toronto then.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
There is one on like the further part of the island, which is Lumsden, but it's like 4 or 5 hours away from me. So
Oh.
typically when I go, I'll go with my best friend when I visit them in
Mhm.
Toronto.
Oh, okay. Yes, there's
okay.
nice beaches in Toronto. Yeah, and I've never been further than Ontario. I would love to. And it's one thing I hate about, like you can travel to so many places affordably, but you cannot travel in your own country affordably. And it's like
Exactly. Yeah.
so hard to get, and I would love to. My dad was born in New Brunswick. I would love to go out there and just see. And of course, I just love ocean and lighthouses, and I would love to go out east sometime.
Right now, you should not go to Toronto. Just saying, the airport is pretty.
I've heard that.
Pretty,
Yeah.
I'm actually headed there
All right.
next month, so pray for me, guys.
Oh,
Oh,
will do.
yes, we will. It should,
Yeah.
hopefully by then things will be
Yeah.
better. But,
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully by then your things will get a little better.
yeah, exactly. How was the pandemic for you? Did anything change for you?
Actually, you guys, it got better because I live with my parents because the home care system here really sucks. So I'm not able to get as much home care as I need.
Yeah.
So having my dad work full time and my mom not being able to drive, there was a lot of things that went online, and I found that a lot better.
Mhm.
I was able to get certifications and different things that I would never get certifications for, just like domestic violence training that was now offered online versus having to go there for a period of a weekend to get my training.
Right.
So different things like that made things better for me.
You just love to learn, hey? Do you just
I
love to
love to
absorb
learn.
everything and just learn?
Yes, I do.
That's
I
awesome.
like that.
You and Leah will connect with that because they
Yeah, I
are
do a
really-
lot of webinars, mostly like work based, just learning about different things for work. But I found like as a kid, I hated school, but as an adult, when I went to university as an adult, I was like, I loved it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that I can learn, I will do. Like right now,
Mhm.
I'm currently doing my English as a second language certificate online, and I absolutely love it.
Oh, that's so great. You could go anywhere with that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yes, you can go
Yeah.
anywhere with that. And just, if you decide one day, hey, I'm going to move to Korea. See you later, everybody. And then you can go.
Yeah. Although I hear the accessibility needs to improve a little bit more before I do that.
Oh, yeah, probably. Hey. How do you find it over like where you live? Is accessibility? Does it need a lot of work there too?
It does need a lot of work. I
Yeah,
always say that Newfoundland's trying, but we're not quite there yet.
not quite there. Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Are you in a electric wheelchair, or you said you have both, right? Or is it, or right
I
now you
have both, yeah.
both.
So I travel in a manual, but I get around like work and everything through a power wheelchair, yeah.
Mhm.
through a power wheelchair? Okay, yeah, because I heard, for those of you guys who are listening, that, and also those users who have power wheelchairs, I heard they're pretty heavy wheelchairs to move around, and they're pretty. I don't have a power wheelchair. One time somebody asked me if I would ever own one. I said, well, because I'm able to walk, thankfully, and so I use crutches, right? I said I would not put myself in a wheelchair just because, not because I don't like wheelchairs, I do. However, for me, it's not feasible to use one, right? Yet,
Yes.
right?
If I had the choice, Carlos, I would get up out of this thing
Mhm.
and go.
Oh,
But I
absolutely.
can't.
Get up and go. Yep.
Absolutely. And I find that a lot of people who are in wheelchairs, who are full-time wheelchair users like yourself, they would say that. They would say the same thing you said. If I have the choice to get up and run, or get up and walk, I would do it. But
Yeah.
but I also seen the opposites. I also seen people. That's why I like people like you, Alisha, because you would say, if I have the choice, I would get up and do it and walk, right? But I
Yeah.
also seen people who are wearing walkers or crutches, and they move into a wheelchair. That's their own choice. I don't blame them, and I don't judge them either, because everybody goes through their own challenges, right?
Mhm.
But I always encourage people, if you're able to walk, stay and walk as long as you can, because
Mhm.
people who are in wheelchairs like yourself, Alicia, who would love to, to get up and do it, you can do it, right? But what's the positive side of thing about your situation, or what I see, is that you're still able to move around using a power wheelchair, and that's awesome. That's awesome. And I mean, if I can see the benefit, Leah, there's a book called Zoom. You and I read it
Mhm.
in schools before. We can raise people using the power wheelchair. That's the coolest part. Have you ever raised people, Alicia? Would you?
No.
You
Do
should.
people always ask you if you have a license for that thing?
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yep.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
remember, I read an article a long time ago. It had a whole list of things that people in wheelchairs are just like, I wish that people would stop saying, like, ooh, slow down. They make that joke because they don't
Or
realize it
My
happens.
least
people.
favorite is, are you drinking and driving?
Oh, no.
Sorry
Right?
that we laugh, but yeah.
They
it's really-
don't realize that 50 other people just said that to you, and it gets
Yeah.
to a point. Like, I worked in retail once at a grocery store, and there was always little one-liners that people, like, if you couldn't scan something, people would be like, oh, I guess it's free. And it would be like, hey, like, that is such an old joke.
Yeah.
Like, give it up.
Yeah.
but they think
Exactly.
they're so funny.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. Or when they try to just start, do people just try to push you too? Does anybody ever just like
Yeah.
All
grab
the,
onto the
Especially when I was
handles?
in my manual wheelchair, but now I love it because this chair is too heavy.
Yep.
they can't push
They
it.
can't.
Yes, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
very awesome. You know what? I have a manual wheelchair for that I use for when I go to the mall or when the people want to be like, my biggest pet peeve, just like your least favorite was, are you drinking and driving? My
Mhm.
biggest pet peeve says, we need to put you in a wheelchair, Carlos, because you're walking too slow. That's my biggest pet peeve.
Oh no,
And,
that's horrible.
and then but believe it or not, there's a lot of people who say that. There's a lot
Yeah.
of people who say, even, I'm not going to mock my parents, but I'm going to say it. But even my mom and dad say, and I love them to pieces,
Of course.
put you on a wheelchair because we're going on a faster pace. Before it used to bother me, but now I'm like, you know what? You want to put me on a wheelchair and push me?
Right?
Go,
Go ahead.
go ahead and do it.
You do all the work.
Go ahead and do it. You do all the work and do it. You don't want to wait?
Yeah.
Do it. Do it. No problem.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they do it. But because I realized that, and I don't know if you think about it, that Alicia, I want to know what you think about. But I think people are losing their patience a
Mhm.
lot. They
Oh,
don't
I
have,
think so. I think
Mhm.
people are so caught up in the daily hustle and bustle of
Mhm.
family life and just
No.
getting where you're going. They forget to, excuse the pun, but they forget to smell the roses.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
forget to smell the roses. And
Mhm.
they go, and go, and they forget,
Yeah.
and people are like, if you go to the mall, I don't know if you go to the mall quite often, but if you go to the mall, if you analyze and sit down and analyze how people are in the mall, they're in a
Mhm.
go basis. You see people coming this way, you see people coming that way, and I'm just going, there's stores with big windows, huge windows, with usually mannequins on the windows. Can you stop and look at it instead of
Mhm.
going?
I
Yes,
know.
exactly.
That's,
Yeah.
you know,
Just enjoy.
just enjoy it.
Enjoy. You know,
Or
like I
don't go to the
always.
mall, period. You
Yeah.
know?
If you don't like it, then order online. If you don't want to, like, yeah, no,
exactly.
people need to slow down
Which
a
is
little
what I
bit.
tend to do because
Yeah.
a lot of the stores are not accessible. The
Mhm.
clothing racks are so close together, I can't get through with my wheelchair. So I tend to shop online.
Yeah.
Good.
Right?
And you know what? We need people like yourself, Alicia, who should be going to the mall and saying, hello, manager, can you open, you have a store that is huge. Can you open the racks so that I can go with my wheelchair? Like, how hard would that be? It's really not
Not
that
hard.
hard. But
Yeah.
people
No.
decide, okay, we have to put 100 clothing things in here and 100.
Yeah.
I'm just going, hello, can you make a store who is friendly, accessible? The day that I
Mhm.
see a store like that, I'll clap, I'll stand up, and I'll say, okay, how much do you want me to spend on your store? I'll spend
Right?
whatever.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that with our last episode with Sean about how, like me as an able-bodied person, if I knew that there was stores going out of their way to accommodate or restaurants, I would totally go to those more than I would anywhere else. Like I would support, like, yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Because the problem
Yeah.
with online, I don't know if you have encountered that, Alicia, where you buy a product or a clothes, you get it into your house, put it on, and it doesn't fit.
Mhm.
Or,
Yep, that happens a lot because when I'm out and about shopping, I can't physically try it on. So I'm
Mhm.
guessing typically I'm a medium to a large, but sometimes those sizings are not the medium and large that they
Exactly.
say they are.
Yep. Sizing, yeah, is very, very, yeah. In
Yeah.
the fashion industry, sizing is a huge issue too.
it's huge.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, even if you look at the fashion industry and the beauty industry, I was talking to this about with my associate producer a few months back because I'm trying to think of other ideas. And I was
Mhm.
talking about body positivity.
Mhm.
When you classify something as beautiful or attractive, people with disabilities are not there. Either you're totally grossed out by them or it's a fetish. And people
Right.
with disabilities that are younger are growing up thinking,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm disgusting. I'm not beautiful. My body's not typical.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Mhm.
The body positivity movement needs to include. Yes,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
And
Sorry, go
when
ahead.
you look at movies and media representations and ads, specifically movie representations, like Me Before You, the guy decides he wants to die because he can't take it. And I'm like, we don't want to die. We just want things to be more accessible and accepted. Like, can there be any type of movie representations of people with disabilities that don't want to die?
Right?
You know, I've seen that movie multiple times because I thought it was a good movie. But now that you put it that way, now that you put it that way, I completely get it. I really
Well,
completely
Amelia Clark
get it.
is so charming. I love her. She's a cute little.
She's fantastic.
Yeah,
Don't get me
she's so
wrong,
cute.
it's a nice movie, but when you analyze it from
When
the
you analyze it,
perspective that
Yes.
I do,
Yes.
what's
No.
going on here?
I love your perspective because I didn't see it that way, but it's true. They're portraying a person with a disability that we all want to die. And
Yeah.
we not all want to die. Well, my understanding is that this guy, and sorry that I'm going on a tantrum, but my understanding was that this guy had a lot of pain, that he couldn't handle it, and that's why he wanted to die. That's my understanding. But I mean, I don't know about you, Alisha, but I live with chronic pain every day of my life. Now, that doesn't mean
So,
sorry?
yeah, I have a chronic bladder condition and I have arthritis. So there's not a day that I wake up and go, oh, I'm not in pain today.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean I want to die.
But that doesn't mean
get rid of my life.
that doesn't
You
mean
wake up in pain one day and you're like, did I die? Because there's no pain.
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
it done? Am I done? Am I? Yeah, like it would probably be weird.
Yeah, we all not want to die, and it's true. I've never seen that this movie actually shows someone who is saying, "Oh, it's okay if you have a disability and you're in pain. Let's die." You know, like no, it's
Well,
well,
it
it's
just always seems like the character with the disability is always miserable.
Yeah,
They're grumpy, they're isolated. And then the able-bodied person comes in and saves them. That's what it always seems like it is. An able-bodied person comes in and says, I'll take you out into the world and I'll show you what life can be. And it's like,
well, that's another issue I have with it. Like, and the fact that they put the relationship figure in this movie as the caregiver, I'm like, not every relationship that a disabled person has, whether it be friendship or romantic or both, is going to be a caregiver. Sure, you might help them physically, but they're not primarily your caregiver. They're your friend, they're your soulmate, they're whatever they are.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's a very, very, very good point, because a lot of people are like, if you have an able-bodied girlfriend or boyfriend, or whatever you decide to, a soulmate or whatever, people assume that that particular person is your caregiver, or she will be, or he will be your caregiver. And I'm like, hello, no, not really. Like, no, right? People need to understand.
I know myself, I wouldn't want that, because then it just adds a different dynamic, different stresses to the relationship that take away from the actual friendship of it. And I'm not interested in that.
No, exactly. And it's not, and I mean, my husband is able-bodied, but I'm his caregiver. And it's not fun.
Yeah.
I'm joking, Henny. He doesn't listen to this, but no, I'm joking. I'm not his caregiver.
I was like, I hope he doesn't.
He would probably say I don't care for him anymore. Like I used to. Let him fend for himself.
That's great. So Leah likes to talk about, sometimes, we still have some time, about her favorite subject on relationships. 'cause that's what-
dating and stuff. I do
dating
enjoy
and-
talking
and
about
stuff.
that. I like to see.
She, if it was
both
for her, she
experiences.
wants to have a speed dating program where and there was one time that we were trying to push for that, both of us, right?
Yep.
And we didn't. We decided not to because it's too much policy there. But anyway, so she likes to talk about relationships, right, Leah? You like to talk about
I do.
relationships?
I like to talk about that. I just like dating. I don't know what it is. I like watching people interact. Like I just finished watching, I always watch the British Love on the Spectrum. And then they had the one from the US come out not long ago. And I watched that all in one day. I just like the concept of getting to know somebody and seeing how they interact and how you can make it work. And so, are you actively dating, and what do you think it's like for you?
I'm interested in somebody, that's what I'll say.
Oh,
But
nice.
I get what
Mhm.
I get what you're saying, but I don't really want to go into detail. But I will say that I do find dating with a disability quite difficult.
Mhm.
Because I'm always wondering, are they truly interested in me, or are they trying to prove a point? Are
Yeah.
they really gonna see me for me, or what is the game here?
Yeah.
I recently, not recently, I suppose, 2019, I left a really abusive relationship. They mentally abused me, manipulated me, made me feel like there was something wrong with me, made me feel crazy because of my mental health issues. And I felt really isolated, and it took me a long time to really love myself again. And I think many people with disabilities find themselves in abusive relationships because they're constantly being told that, oh, you're too much work, you need this, and this done with you. So you don't know, you don't know any different.
Right.
So you get, it's kind of like, I don't know if this happened to you or not, but it's kind of, you get numb. Eventually you get numb and you go into a numbing situation where you're like, okay, yeah, they're telling me that I'm too much work, that that I have to put my shoes on, that's too hard, for example, right? They haven't done that to me because I can do it on my own. But it becomes to a numbing situation that you end up taking all the, I'm not trying to make Alisha or myself the victims here, but you end up taking all the pain and just keeping it. So your self-esteem, what happens to your self-esteem is, instead of your self-esteem could be here and it goes all the way down. And then when you get out of the relationship where you're on, you realize, okay, this is actually not true. So you have to build up the self-esteem all the way up again. That it costs you, depends on the person. Like, it doesn't cost me as much, but it can cost a lot of persons a lot of time to get up.
And I mean, right? I'm still nowhere near where I need to be. Just a little while ago, I had wanted to cuddle with the person that I was interested in. And they said, well, I said sorry. And he goes, why are you saying sorry? Because it's a normal need in a relationship to have that physical touch. And but for so long, I was told that I was too clingy, too needy. And I started realizing what I needed was normal things.
Yeah, and you shouldn't have to apologize for that, because we all deserve that. Everybody deserves that. But I mean, somebody tells you something for so long in a relationship, you start to believe it, like you can't, it's like the whole power of words. So I'm, glad that you were able to get out of that.
I'm very glad as well that you were able to get out of that, because it's true. Like, even people with, they tell us that we're too much work, or we're too much, as Alisha was saying, or we're too much of a burden to someone. But they don't realize that those people who are telling you that, they have too much baggage as well. Themselves. But they're telling you that because they don't want to see their own baggage. They don't see their own baggage. Right?
My father always said, I wonder what skeletons they're hiding in their closet that they're not telling you while they're judging.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, that's
Exactly.
true. Yeah.
So,
So,
sorry, go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Just speaking on mental health, what do you do for yourself when it comes to your mental health?
So I think the biggest thing that I do for myself is I go to counseling once every 3 weeks, and that
Awesome.
really does help.
Yeah.
Because trying to deal with my mental health diagnosis on my own is quite difficult. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
very busy, as you guys can
Yeah.
continue to know. So, but I really think just prioritizing my time for myself is something that I really needed to do. Like, whether it be watching a show or watching my niece and nephew for those 20 minutes rather than saying, well, I have to do X, Y, and Z for work,
Yeah.
or even just chatting with my friend that's away on video chat, making that time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, good for you. It's hard to maintain, especially when you do have, a diagnosis. You have to really keep that in check.
And I think more times than not, people with disabilities do struggle with mental health, and they're afraid to speak about it because they already have this physical diagnosis. What if you tell them, like myself, I have panic anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety, depression, and PTSD. If I tell them that, they're going to think I'm even more work.
I know, right?
So,
yeah.
You hit it on the nail. You hit it on the nail. A lot of persons with disabilities, they don't say it because they don't want to say it, because they feel afraid of saying it, because it, as Alisha just said, they're gonna think we're more work, right? And so what would you do? It's just hide it. But it's not good to hide it, because that's why I'm glad you share it, Alisha, because it's good to share it. Alisha, sorry, it's good to share it to the world and share it to people, because you don't keep it bottled up. On the other hand, you just say, hey, this is who I am. If you're gonna love me, this is the way you're gonna have to love me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I say to all my friends, if I love you with your defects and your virtues. And even if your defects are more than your virtues, I will love you regardless, no matter what. Because you have defects, I have defects, Leah has defects, Alisha has defects, but we have. No, you're not.
Oh, no, I do.
but
I really do.
But we have more virtues than defects, and even those are more valuable. What I'm saying is you gotta love people for who they are as a whole. And I think that by you sharing that, Alicia, that you have all those your mental health situation, it is huge. But at the same time, it helps other people realizing, hey, she might not be the only one. Carlos might have some. Thankfully, I don't have any mental health issues, I don't think. But there are other people that might be able to, and it's okay. It's okay. We're on the world. What does COVID did to us this year? Saying it's okay to have to work on our mental health.
Yeah,
it's actually important to work on your mental health. Right?
Yeah,
I'm very glad.
Sorry, what people need to realize is that if you take time to heal a broken bone because you injured yourself, say on a trampoline, it's okay to say, I'm not okay today. I need a mental break to rejuvenate my mind and be 100% present with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And if somebody isn't going to take you at your worst, they are not allowed to have you at your best.
Exactly.
Forbidden. Forbidden.
That's actually a good phrase. I didn't realize if somebody is not taking you at your worst, they're not allowed to take you at your best.
Exactly. That's the type of people that you need to cut ties with and surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Surround yourself with people that are lifting you up. Oh, yep. The special question.
The main topic.
Hey, the main topic. Yeah, go ahead.
Life without limits. What does that mean to you? And do you feel like you live a life without limits?
Life without limits is not letting the barriers that are in front of you stop you. If you want to be a clown at the circus, you should be a clown at the circus.
That's right.
If you want to be a journalist like myself, you
Yep.
should be a journalist like myself. If you want to be an exotic dancer, you should be an exotic
Go ahead.
dancer.
Absolutely.
It's
More
not
power.
stop you. But I think Life Without Limits is continuing to educate people so that the able-bodied people are on board and they stop intentionally putting barriers in front of us that make us think that there's something wrong with us. So we have a while to go before we can truly say that we live life without limits. I do to the best of my capacity, but there's still people that are trying to stop me.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna let them.
Nope. That's right.
But I think that, and you hit it on the nail once again. But I think
There's a lot of hammering going on in this episode.
But I think you just say something very important. I'm not going to let them. So in a way, it's like, despite of them putting barriers and challenges, I'm going to continue pushing to live my life without limits. So
Exactly.
I think it's great. It's great what you just said.
Yeah.
Absolutely great.
Love it. Love it.
Absolutely great. And it's great to hear that, because as I said on every episode, and Leah probably is tired of listening to this, but I always say that every person, every guest that we had give us a different perspective that we haven't heard before on what a life without limits means to them. And I think that the one that you give today is fantastic, because I haven't thought about it until you said it today, right? So it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Very, very
We
good.
learn lots from everybody that comes
We do.
on.
We
Yeah.
do.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Oh, it was so nice talking to you. And I appreciate that you didn't get creeped out by me just being like, hey, contacting you randomly.
Oh, absolutely not. I think having a career in the media, you kind of get all kinds of people contacting you for different reasons. I actually felt really honored that somebody thought my story was worthwhile to share. So thank you.
Absolutely. It absolutely is. And we would be happy to have you back again sometime, especially, you know, when you've achieved your master's, and we can talk about all, like, you know, we like to form long lasting relationships here.
Absolutely. You know where to find me. Contact me anytime.
Oh,
Thank
now
you.
Leah won't give you won't be with you all the time, because I mean, once Leah
I'll be lurking around somewhere.
once Leah creeps you out, she continuously creeps you out. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we love to have people like yourself, Alisha, and thank you so much for coming here. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. That's why we do something like this, so then we can exalt the stories of a person like yourself. We can not make it positive, because your story is already positive, but because of your story, people listening to your story, there's going to be another person that will be brave enough to share their story, or maybe somebody's going through a similar situation like you're going through, and they feel related to, right? And they will feel encouraged for this. So thank you so much for that, and for being a part of the show.
Of course.
Thank you.
And one final thing, I'm still doing Access with Alisha. So if you Google CBC St. John's Newfoundland Access with Alisha, you can follow me there as well. Well as Crosstalk Podcast. I'm the producer on there.
Awesome.
So if your listeners want to see what I'm up to,
yes, I'll make sure to put links, in the description and everything, so people know where
do
to
you
find
have
you.
do you want people to follow? Is there like a Instagram page on that CBC Newfoundland, or is it not? Or
It's so it's a web series. So like I said, if they just Google CBC St. John's Access with Alisha, they will find it. And the same thing, CBC Crosstalk St. John's podcast, they can find it there.
Great.
Awesome.
I'll link to it for sure.
We'll link it up. Thank you so much for that, and I'll definitely take a listen to that CBC the one that the podcast there, because I'm always looking for podcasts, and Leah loves podcasts as well.
I do.
She does. I think she listens to more podcasts than I do.
Murder podcast.
Yeah, I do
mostly.
as well. I'm obsessed.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of murder
My
ones.
most recent favorite is the Phantom Family podcast. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
It's really good. So it's about two parents that live in the States, and their parenting style is not your typical parenting style, and I really enjoy listening to them.
Oh, cool. A whole new perspective. I like that too. Seeing how people do things,
Yeah.
differently. And I'm a parent, so that'll be interesting. It'll give me a break from the murder podcasts.
Yeah, because
I also
love it
listen to
too.
murder podcasts as well.
And CBC has a lot of good ones.
They do, yeah.
she hasn't got me. She hasn't got me into the podcast, but I've been watching videos about murder things on YouTube.
You
So-
need to get on board, Carlos. I'm telling you, once you listen to one episode, it's addictive.
Yes.
The only one that I listen to, and I can say it on this podcast, is Dirty John, because she got me into that one.
Oh, I did have him listen to the
And
Dirty
I was-
John one.
I was
Yes.
able to
Oh
listen
yeah,
to
no, that one's good.
that
Yeah.
one's a
It
good
is
one.
good.
That one's a good. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much, Leah. Thank you so much to our listeners. Feel free to check our YouTube channel because we're going to be putting a lot of more episodes, and we're even going to put this one, of course, up in YouTube with our. Leah, we have our captions there showing up on our YouTube. Video.
Yeah. They put in some captions
Okay.
after
So-
it's been posted for a while. The captions will come up. So just trying to make this as accessible as possible.
Exactly. And
Everybody
Leah
can hear and listen and read. Yeah.
Leah did an amazing intro, guys. Please make sure to comment on the intro and
Yes.
let-
Please give me praises. Yes.
yeah, give her great praises, feedback, because it's a lot of work, guys. So please do that. Check our Instagram page, My Life with Limits Podcast. And if you want to be a guest such as Alisha, go to our website and contact us from there. That'll be
Mhm.
fantastic. We would love to have you as a guest. Thank you so much. Please remember to live your life without limits.
Bye-bye.
Bye.